Will Plan Z stop Gamera? Gamera, the Invincible.
I've been making videos for a while now, and somehow I haven't ever touched on the Showa Gamera movies for whatever reason. I honestly don't know why. But I mean, hey, I covered Konga TNT and Ape vs. Monster, so clearly my priorities are in check. And I don't really think Gamera needs an introduction, but I'm gonna give one anyway. He's a big-ass flying turtle with an iconic roar that kinda sounds like an elephant getting flicked in the nuts. He was basically Dai-Ei's answer to Godzilla. It was the 60s, everyone had to have a Godzilla knockoff. But unlike many of those Godzilla knockoffs, Gamera was one of the only ones that was successful enough to ever stand toe-to-toe with the big, well, other G. And you kinda see why in this first movie. Oh, and for reference, I'm watching the English dub of the movie, and yeah, I know the Japanese version's better, the Japanese version's always better, but the dub's funny, so step off. And unfortunately, this version doesn't include the iconic Gamera song from the original theatrical release in the US, which is just an incomprehensible tragedy. The movie kicks off with a bunch of scientists arriving at an Eskimo village in the Arctic. And I love how immediately, the scientist just talks to the Eskimo like they just found alien life or some shit.
Here we are. It looks wild, huh?
You can say that again.
Let's start unloading the equipment.
We won't need everything at once.
Hello, how do you do, sir? We are from the exploration ship Chidori Maru.
I know.
And then the Eskimo just responds like, bitch, I know, I'm not dumb. And purely by coincidence, America happens to be doing America things and shoots down some plane that just so happened to be carrying a nuclear bomb, which crashes into the ground right on the spot where Gamera happened to be sleeping. He just shoots up like, what the fuck is going on? And speaking of America doing America things, the American actors in this don't seem to have the faintest fucking clue what they're even talking about.
Commander! Last message from a Chidori Maru.
Huge turtle. 60 meters. What's going on around here?
I don't know, sir. Looks like a huge turtle made its appearance.
Well, I will have to order up the observation planes to find out what's going on.
The caveman who invented the wheel will be like,
The wheel! The wheel!
and then the plot from this point on is basically the same as every other early kaiju movie in that it's just basically the scientists trying to figure out ways to stop Gamera. There's really not much more to it than that. But I mean, it really doesn't need to be much more than that. Back in the good old days when people could still smoke on airplanes, breathing in all the recycled smoky air, people have been farting in that metal tube for hours, just circulating around in there, it's getting on your tongue. Oh yeah. Now if you so much as even sneeze a little bit, something they throw you out of the airlock. Planes don't have airlocks. Do they have airlock? No. Do they? I don't know, whatever. And while the scientists are trying to kill Gamera, there's this annoying little ass troglodyte of a crotch gremlin named Kenny, running around doing stupid little Kenny things with a voice that made me just want to hold his head in a pool until the bubbles stopped coming up. Fuck, I hate this character. Like, if you locked me in a room with this kid and the kid from Godzilla's Revenge, I would, honest to God, probably try to figure out a way to make my brain cells commit suicide just so I could get out of that situation. Like, that is my 7th layer of hell. When Gamera first shows up, and somehow just solid snakes his way behind the kid, which I'm not even going to try and, like, figure out the logistics on that one. Kenny runs towards the lighthouse that Gamera happens to be attacking, climbs the fucking thing, and then looks at Gamera like, well, if it ain't the consequences of my actions, as Gamera proceeds to knock the thing down. Sadly, the kid doesn't die. And then later, when the military is using fuel tanks to attack Gamera, the kid just fucking climbs aboard one and rides it like goddamn Slim Pickens riding the Nuke in Dr. Strangelove. Why does he do all this? Because he likes turtles. Bruh, I like turtles. But unfortunately, my brain has more than one cell in it that works, so I don't like them enough to blow myself up with one. I genuinely wonder what it's like to have the intellectual level of a mashed potato, because that's exactly what this kid's got. So the military, knowing full well that the full force of an atomic bomb didn't even touch Gamera, decides that the next logical solution to dealing with him is to electrocute him. But it doesn't work. Actually, it only makes Gamera stronger. You played yourselves. Why is it that every scientist in these old monster movies always look like they sell chicken? Another thing they attempt to do is freeze Gamera and then flip him on his back. And I just love this shot because Gamera kind of looks like a fat toddler that gets stuck trying to climb over a baby gate or something. It also doesn't work, whoops, because Gamera can fly. I love that effect. Honestly, I love that effect of him flying. I love that it's like a hand-drawn animation. That's really cool. When dudes get in the pool and the water is too cold, be like, now after all these plans have failed, freezing, electrocuting, blowing them up with tankers, the only possible logical next step is to send them into space on a ship that looks remarkably phallic. I mean, you ever seen Not Another Teen Movie? Yeah, it looks like that scene. I'm not going to show it because I don't want to get demonetized, but you know what I'm talking about. Look, I'm no scientist. Big surprise there, right? But if you already had this plan ready to go, why didn't you just lead with that instead of wasting countless dollars and resources trying all the other plans first? They kind of seemed like plan BCD, you know? The shit you try when the real plan doesn't work. I know it seems like I dogged on this movie a lot because, well, it's dumb, but it wasn't trying to be anything more than what it was. It wasn't trying to represent human suffering or serve as an allegory for the pain Japan went through in World War II. It was just the studio's attempt at making money. But you can clearly see while watching this movie why Gamera ended up becoming such a successful and beloved franchise to kaiju fans. Gamera's a freaking cool design, man. Who doesn't like a flying jetpack rocket turtle with saber-toothed tiger teeth that breathes fire? Come on, if you don't, there's something wrong with you.
Savor the action as the rookie Baragon delivers the full spectrum of destruction to his hard-shelled opponent in this thunderous spectacle of epic proportions. What skills! What strength! What a tale! It's the colossal clash that's kept the world trembling. Gamera's back and Baragon's got him. In Gamera versus Baragon.
The original Gamera made a big old stack of cheese for Dai, a good chunk of it. So naturally, a sequel was thrust from the loins of the company just 1 year after the original. And that sequel was Gamera vs. Baragon, later known as War of the Monsters for its North American release, because that was the trend back then. Change the title, because us stupid North Americans wouldn't have a damn clue what Gamera vs. Baragon meant. But War of the Monsters? That shit appeals to our Western monkey brains. War? Monsters? Oh hell yeah. Sign me the fuck up for that. You know, I really do love the fact that Japan spent probably billions of dollars creating the Z plan from the first movie to send Gamera into the heavens, only to have him break out of the ship and immediately come right back to Earth like minutes later, like bitch you thought. But space travel makes Gamera weak, so he horks down some delicious fire and gets so drunk off the stuff that he bumps into a dam and floods a town. Yeah, I know he did it intentionally, but I find it funnier to imagine my way. Oh, and because Dai thought we needed it for, like, the purpose of a movie, I guess, there's a human story in here too. A group of thieves travel to some island in search of the world's rarest opal. Now my guy here really looks like he's fighting for his life. I mean, just look at how wet his shirt is. Dirty Island man musk. Speaking of, Kojiro Hongo here, our main character, didn't even want to be in the movie at all and even tried to get out of it by faking sick to the point that he pretended to cough up blood. Only to have the movie's producers call us bullshit and be like, oh, don't worry, we'll just wait for you to get better. But I mean, hey, at least there's no annoying ass little Kennys in it, so that's a plus.
Please, you mustn't go there.
Peter, Stavaku, stay where you are.
Be careful. Don't move.
What are you doing?
Just scaring them away. Didn't know it would come in handy so soon. Come on.
You know, I may just be overthinking this. I mean, really, yeah, I am. But the dude is rocking a 6-shooter, and he just wasted 4 bullets trying to scare you people. Y'all have spears, and they're a hell of a lot more of you than them. And if he really didn't want them going to the cave to get the opal, he could have just easily sacrificed 2, maybe 1 if the first bullet didn't finish the job. Just saying. You could have tried. So they get the opal and they bring it back to Japan, only to discover that the opal wasn't an opal at all, but an egg containing our titular monster, Baragon. Now, Baragon, he's something. That's for sure. He's definitely something. I swear when they come up with the powers for these kaiju, they all just take hits off a bong and then they just pull ideas from a hat. And somehow they landed on Baragon shooting liquid nitrogen when he haggows his long-ass gross tongue. It just makes me feel really uncomfortable. And rainbows, why not? Yeah, my guy just shoots rainbows out his back. He's like Shin Godzilla, if Shin Godzilla was really lame. And I think calling this movie Gamera vs. Baragon is a bit disingenuous considering I think these two monsters are on screen together for a combined total of maybe 5 minutes in a fucking movie that's an hour and a half long. And a good chunk of those 5 minutes is just Gamera and Baragon like throwing slurs at each other. the monsters actually do fight, it's not even really all that good either. The only part that stands out at all to me is when Gamera like sucker punches Baragon in the face and just makes him squirt, and then he just stands there like,
"Oh fuck, I can't believe you've done this."
And the rest of this movie it's actually pretty boring. Even Noriaki Yuasa, the man who directed every single Showa Gamera movie, except this one, realized this when he saw kids in theaters getting bored out of their minds, which shouldn't happen in a movie about a flying rocket turtle that fights a rainbow shooting whatever the hell Baragon is supposed to be. Thus, we were blessed with Kennys for the rest of the franchise. But don't worry, there are human fights to tide you over. But they suck. Except this part where the dude just kind of casually kicks the chick mid-combat. I don't know why I thought that was funny. The way Baragon dies is actually kind of unique in the grand scheme of kaiju movie endings. It actually comes across pretty animalistic. Gamera just drags his bleeding ass to the bottom of a lake and drowns him. Kind of reminds me of the Mosasaur taking out the Indominus in Jurassic World. Obviously not as cool though. Now, interestingly, when this movie was released theatrically in Japan, it was slapped together as a double bill with another Dai movie, Daimonjin, which I will get to eventually, which actually, in of itself, was made from scrapped ideas that were originally supposed to be in Gamera vs. Baragon, so it's almost like the two movies are kind of like one, in a weird sort of way. Didn't help though, because the movie still kind of bombed, but hey, that didn't stop Dai from making 6 more of them in the Showa series, because when a concept makes even a little money, you milk that cash cow until it disintegrates into dust like Thanos snapping the gauntlet, or until you go bankrupt.
Return of the Giant Monsters.
Released in 1967, Gamera vs. Gauss, or as it was known in the US, Return of the Giant Monsters, which is a title so vague that I can completely understand why they chose it. I mean, imagine you're scrolling through the channel listings and you see Gamera vs. Gauss, you're gonna be like, okay, what the hell? Alright, and you just skip over it. But you see Return of the Giant Monsters, you'd immediately be like, ooh, what giant monsters are returning? Then you tune in, and it's a big-ass turtle fighting a triangle. Anyway, this is the third movie in the series, and saw the return of director Noriaki Yuasa, who after he deemed Gamera vs. Baragon as too slow for the target audience of these movies, i.e., like 10-year-olds, Noriaki would go on to direct the remainder of the Showa Gamera series. Well, they got progressively dumber and dumber. But it wasn't just Noriaki Yuasa who returned. Gamera vs. Gauss also saw the return of a villain, far more deadly than any kaiju in the franchise. A creature so vile and disgusting and repugnant that I cringe at the very sight of it. The dreaded fucking Kenny.
Gamera!
No! So the movie kicks off with Gamera showing up at an erupting Mount Fuji so that he can rip the fattest bong hoot known to man, and then ends up getting so high his stoned-ass toddler crawls into the volcano where he just falls in. What, you ain't ever been so high you took a swan dive into an open volcano? I had an ex once who was so high she thought our couch was trying to climb out the window and started crying about it. Just saying, it's possible. But alas, from that same earth-shattering event, a new kaiju arises from the depths. Gauss. It's basically the bastard hellspawn of Dracula having sex with a 90-degree angle, with a little bit of obvious Rodin slapped in there for good measure. Which wasn't a mistake, its design was fully meant to be, what if Dracula was a kaiju? I mean, he even eats people, and at one point he slurps up blood like a porn star eats ass. I think the best part about Gauss though is his attack, that weird beam that cuts things in half, and that's mainly because it makes for a satisfying special effect. At least it's a more unique way to blow stuff up rather than just blowing stuff up. And while Gauss is like a fine kaiju, I never really understood why he's the one that always kept making a comeback. Of all the kaiju in the Gamera series, Gauss is the only one that has ever appeared in multiple movies. If you don't count in, stock footage, which I'm not counting. So there's a plot here, but it's kept to an absolute minimum. Basically, a construction company is trying to buy out a piece of land owned by farmers so that they can put a road through it. Man, the way they cut this made me think the guy was mooing, and I got very confused. Oh, and the foreman of the construction company, Kojiro Hongo, back again in yet another Gamera film. Not playing the same character from Baragon, because continuity be fucking damned, I guess. Speaking of continuity, I'm not sure if it was just my copy of the movie, or if someone screwed up the editing process on the dub, but there's a few times where the audio doesn't even come close to matching the mouth movements at all.
Look at that.
Now keep in mind, there are 2 dubs for this movie, one from American International and one by Axis International that was commissioned by Dai, which is the one I watched, because honestly, it's the better of the 2, I think. In my opinion, the AIP dub, or the American International dub, has no personality and it sounds very dull, while the International dub is just a lot more lively, but a lot more comedic.
Huh? What the hell's happened here, huh? Look at the mess. How on earth could that have happened? Yeah. I'll tell you what. This must have happened recently because it was all right when we left here yesterday.
What? Looks like a hurricane went through it.
Hurricane looks like an earthquake. We haven't been back since we surveyed this
Deliberate sabotage.
Yes.
The way this reporter, like, casually walks up to the Kenny looking like he's about to bad touch him hardcore is so creepy. The way he smiles at him, like, nowadays that's enough to immediately get your ass on a list somewhere. Speaking of Kenny, there are multiple times throughout this movie where we are almost saved from his presence. Shortly after the creepy reporter scene, as Gauss is appearing for the first time, a cave almost collapses on him after the reporter bails on his ass, which I would have also totally done. Then later, Gauss is moments away from eating him, and I'm just like, yes. But then Gamera wakes up from his stoner coma and saves the day. Ugh. Oh man, the one time I want Gamera to spin around and he doesn't. Could you imagine Kenny's point of view there? That would be hilarious. I want to see that. Now the fights between Gamera and Gauss are good stuff. Much better than the battle in the last movie where Gamera and Baragon just kind of yelled at each other for most of it. There's so many great moments, like when Gamera rolls down a mountain and Gauss just pimp slaps him aside like yeet, or this moment where Gamera just starts dodging Gauss's attacks like Han Solo in the special edition of New Hope. It just kind of, it's hilarious. And the blood, god damn, there's a lot of blood in this movie for something aimed at kids. Gamera almost has his arm cut off, Gauss gets his foot ripped off, their injuries squirt like Cytheria, if you know, you know, like damn.
Just hurry up and get well again, Gamera. Gamera!
Imagine almost getting your arm ripped off and then you're just laying there like trying to recover from your wounds, and then all of a sudden you have the shrieking shrillness of a Kenny screaming your name telepathically too, so you can't even escape it. It's just like stuck in your brain and you can't get rid of it. God, there are fates worse than death, and I would consider that one of them. Gamera versus Gauss. It's a good time. It's a good, stupid time. Plenty of dumb monster battles, scenes where the strings are painfully obvious, fun special effects work. Definitely one of the more enjoyable entries in the Showa series, though I know most of you are probably going to disagree with that because based on the comments from the last video, most of you seem to think Gamera vs. Baragon is the best one.
See this thrilling new adventure as the Earth fights its climactic battle for survival against overwhelming odds. Destroy all planets.
Oh hell yeah. Gamera vs. Virus, whatever, I'm calling it Virus, is a stupid movie. But it's stupid in like the way a kid's imagination is stupid. It's like one of those movies that sucks as soon as your adult cynical brain kicks in, but when you're a monkey-brained adolescent, it's the good shit. So as was the usual with these Gamera movies, when it got released in America, its title was changed to a more American-friendly title, Destroy All Planets. And by this point, American International Pictures had been the only company releasing these movies over here, so they had a bit more power. This time around, they told Dai that they would only release the movie over here if Dai hired an American kid. Thus, Gamera vs. Virus is a double whammy Kenny extravaganza. Fuck my life. So, a race of aliens dressed like sushi chefs attack Earth in a ship that looks like someone glued a bunch of back massagers together. Why? Because they need our planet's resources. But before they can even make it near our atmosphere, Gamera shows up and just starts laying the smack down on the ship, and then they just take off and flee. Presumably to go tell their older brother that they're getting bullied so that the older brother can come beat the shit out of Gamera. Back on Earth, we're introduced to our 2 Kennys. I don't care what their names are, because they are and forever will be Kennys, doing the most Kenny of Kenny things imaginable. They rewire the controls on a submarine so that everything's backwards. A submarine. a vehicle designed solely to go into one of the harshest environments mankind can actually go into, where even the slightest mistake or malfunction can mean the difference between life and death, and these two little nut stains are like, funny. So Koji Hongo in yet another Gamma role, and the quintessential Colonel Sanders white suit scientist go down and almost die, but the music sounds like this, so it's fine. They come back up all terrified, bricks hatched firmly in their pants, and you know what they do? They hand the reins of a fucking submarine to the two Kennys and then just let them go out to open sea with it. There's no possible way this could go wrong, even though deep down I was praying to God that it would go wrong. Gamera, fresh off his intergalactic space battle with a goddamn alien ship, just also happens to be down there and he just kind of races them. You'd think Gamera would have better things to do than this, but I mean, alright. You're telling me nowhere else in the world is there a little kid in trouble? Really? But another alien ship, the Big Brother, appears and captures Gamera and the submarine in a dome.
Jim, Gamera's caught in a ray of some kind. It looks like it's got us too. We must get out of here. We are losing all our air. Gamera, help us get out. Please, our oxygen is getting low. It'll soon be gone.
Gamera's like, bitch, I'm stuck too. The fuck you want me to do? Oh, wait. So we can lift the dome. Wait, then why did he only lift it enough for the kids to get out? He can clearly touch it. Why doesn't he just, like, grab it and, like, lift it up over top of... Like, come on, man. I should also mention that at the time that Gamera vs. Virus was being made, Dai was facing money issues. And as a result, this is the first time, and depressingly enough, not the last time, that these movies would rely on stock footage. They basically just use 15 minutes of the last 3 movies as a plot device for the aliens to figure out how to fight Gamera. Which is fine if you're a little kid with the memory of a goldfish, but like, I'm not, so it's not cool. Oh my god, that's horrifying, dude. So yeah, now we have these two idiots running around on the alien ship, and it's sure a good thing these two are so enjoyable to be around, because we spend more time in this fucking goddamn ship with them than we do with Gamera. And when we do get to Gamera, like when the aliens take over his brain, they just use more fucking stock footage, bro.
Ah, Jim, look. It looks like juice, but I don't know. How about it, myself? It's as good as juice, better.
Typical Kenny. Man, if I was on a spaceship from some other planet and a random-ass wall opened up and a glass of yellow liquid appeared in front of me, my first inclination wouldn't be to just slam that shit like a college kegger. What if it's space nut? What if it's piss? I don't know. Come on, man. How do you know you didn't just drink that shit and get pregnant? You don't know. It's a spaceship. So, while Gamera is being mind-freaked by the aliens and the Kennys are running rampant on the ship, the humans back on Earth are figuring out a plan. And I can only suspend my disbelief so far. Alien squids, rocket turtles, sushi chef aliens, and alien wall juice, that's fine. But the fact that the UN decided to give up Earth to aliens to save these two little shits? You know damn well the UN would have already fired, at minimum, like 4 nukes at that ship already. They'd already have one of the aliens like strapped to a table in some sketchy secret lab sticking things up its butt to see what makes it tick. You know.
Sister, are you still there? This is Masao. What's going on? Why are you so quiet? Masao, where's the red rings that will let you both go?
By the time Virus finally performs this beautiful shot to battle Gamera, there's only 10 minutes of movie left, but by God, is it ever some of the dumbest, most amazing crap I've ever seen in 10 minutes?
Use fire!
Virus doesn't have any cool beams or anything like that. Dude literally just has tentacles and can stab shit with his head, but half the time it doesn't even work. It's hilarious. I mean, this fight is easily the highlight of the entire movie. I mean, what other movie are you ever gonna watch that features a giant turtle riding a squid like a jet ski?
Now, this is epic.
But the way Gamera beats Virus is the dumbest shit ever, while Virus is still balls deep in Gamera's gut. Gamera takes off into the upper atmosphere and freezes the sumbitch. We're just going to ignore the fact that Virus came from the vacuum of space already, but froze when he got close to space in our atmosphere. Alright. You know, I know some dude in the comments is going to be like, actually? I love how Virus has this look on his face as he plummets to Earth like, yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I got into this situation. And, I mean, that's Gamera versus Virus. Man, can you ever feel that budget cut? It's basically like Shawshank Redemption, where like Tim Robbins crawls through the river of crap to get to freedom, but our reward at the end of the tunnel is a dumbass 10-minute fight scene after sitting through a gauntlet of Kennys and stock footage. Definitely one of the stupider Gamera movies, but they get stupider.
Can the Earth survive the attack of the monsters?
Continuing our trek through the saga of old Showa-era Gamera movies, we come to Gamera vs. Giran, the fifth and arguably dumbest one so far, which is a hell of a feat considering we're dealing with psychic squids and rainbow lizards. I swear, it's like someone found a giant mountain of crap, made a ball of said crap at the top, and then just rolled it down. Big smelly ass turd ball just gets bigger and bigger as it careens down the mountains of ass, and we're at the bottom, unable to get out of the way. We see it coming, but like, our legs, they just won't move. When it came out in North America, it was given the title Attack of the Monsters, which is the most we just don't give a fuck title I've ever heard. They couldn't even come up with anything that sounded somewhat cool. They're just like, has it got monsters in it? They attack stuff? Fuck it, Attack of the Monsters. Which I guess does make sense, because at this point, all these Gamera movies just kept resulting in diminishing returns with each and every release. And I think that no shits given attitude extends into the dub for this movie, because my god. Look, I'm 30, alright? I've seen many dubbed anime, dubbed foreign movies, dubbed kaiju movies in my day, but the Titan dub for Gamera vs. Giran is quite easily the crappiest example of an English dub I've ever sat through. Here, just let me give you some examples of this film's excellence.
That's not all. Some of the papers said waves were caught from the outer space. Systematically, too. It might have been the spacemen that they heard.
That's why we've been trying to find which stars.
They may be very civilized up there, more than we are here on Earth.
I see. Akio's up to something again.
Please tell me something. Don't you believe in spaceships and spacemen, you know?
No, I don't.
But the paper said a lot of people saw flying saucers. Don't you know it?
And before anyone says, well, you should have watched the original Japanese version. Shut up. My guy's DJing with his mind. Oh god. Oh, please tell me this isn't another double whammy kick in the nuts with 2 Kennys in it again. No, please god, die, don't do this to me.
Oh, no.
Actually, it's even worse, because sure, we mainly have to deal with these 2, but the little girl is always chiming in with her annoying ass stupid voice, so really, we get 3. 3 Kennys, for the price of my sanity. So an alien spaceship lands in the forest, and these 3 piles of primordial sludge head out on to investigate. They find the UFO, and then in typical Kenny fashion, run inside the damn thing and start screwing with buttons until it takes off into space, where these children will likely be probed and devoured by weird alien monsters. Oh, classic Kenny.
Where are you going? Mother will scold you. You are naughty.
But before any of that can happen, they gotta sneak past this bumbling oaf of a cop. Thankfully, Tom here has the universe's strongest sticky dart gun that can somehow break the laws of physics and fire with enough force to stick a towel to a wall in a direction he didn't even fire from. When I was a kid, I could barely get these darts to stick to someone's head, let alone impaling a towel to a wall. The secret was to like slobber all over the end of the dart, because that way it sticks to your friend's face and they don't know why.
Hey, wait! I said, stop. 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 What's this? And you come back too.
So once the Kennys get into space, Gamera shows up, presumably pissed off that yet another group of Kennys are doing stupid shit that puts their lives in danger. There's even a part where Gamera like straight up blocks their path, like, would you fuckers turn back and stop doing this? You think you're the only kids on the entire planet in peril? Little Jimmy back on Earth stuck in a well, gonna drown in a big sludge of poo. Meanwhile, you idiots are like joyriding in a UFO and I gotta come save your dumbasses. I bet Gamera drinks. A lot. I love when they go past him and realize
I'm in danger.
and they just start screaming for Gamera, and he just sits there like, nah, fam. You're on your own. If I help you, you're never gonna learn your lesson. So they end up on some planet where these two odd alien chicks, they're living. Fuck it. I hate when they give them those like creepy practical effect eyes. Like, ugh. Turns out their base keeps getting attacked by Gauss, or as the dub calls them.
Yeah.
It's just the same Gauss suit from the other movie, just painted white. And like, yeah, I mean, that's cheap as balls, but they could have easily have just used stock footage again, so I'll give them a tiny bit of credit here. Apparently this was supposed to be a new monster originally called Manga. Manga. Yeah, not like manga, but like manga. Based on a flying squirrel, but like, yeah, money. It costs money, and like, Dai was not a fan of using money, so they just repurposed a Gauss suit. But the alien chicks have a surprise up their sleeve. This is Girin, a space knife that can shoot ninja stars out its face, because why not? Why the hell not, right? Now, I'm not gonna lie, I actually dig Girin's design. He's one of the more unique monsters that came out of the Showa era, and he kind of resembles like Knifehead from Pacific Rim, even though it's purely coincidence, but Knifehead is like one of my favorite kaiju from Pacific Rim, so yeah, I just like knife heads, I guess. So Girin defends the base by absolutely wrecking Gauss. Like worse than a white girl on prom night who accidentally stumbled into a bang bus. He destroys this thing. I think it might actually be the goriest kill in like any kaiju movie I've ever seen. Dude cuts off its leg, cuts off its wings, and as if that wasn't enough, he decapitates Gauss. This fucking thing is straight up like Jeffrey Dahmer, man. He just keeps cutting and cutting. Bro even laughs like a maniac. Need I remind you, this movie was made for kids, but after this epic moment, the movie ends up falling into the same trap that most of the previous Gamera movies fell into. It's just such a goddamn snorefest. For a movie that's supposedly made for children, you can't tell me there was even one kid sitting in a theater, like listening to this shit going, oh my god, I'm so enthralled.
I'll tell you what. In our world, it was a well-advanced society. We could even control the laws of nature with electronic brains. But a mix-up in the computer brought calamity. And also it made uncontrollable monsters.
It reminds me of like that boring-ass opening credit crawl from like the Phantom Menace. Like, I care about trade agreements about as much as I care about this dull science fiction mumbo-jumbo bullshit. I have the brain of a child. Give me big monster.
Gamera is the friend of children.
A friend of children?
Oh, there it is. There it is. Oh, hell yeah. Wouldn't be a Gamera movie without fucking stock footage. So just in case you were a naive, innocent soul who thought these two alien chicks weren't nefarious, turns out they want to eat the kids' brains.
And we can't waste any time, because while they are sleeping, we'll eat their brains raw.
You mean their brains?
All their knowledge.
Knowledge.
They accomplish this by roofing the kids with donuts laced with some sleep drug, ketamine or some shit, I don't know. Either way, they're stupid as earthworms. What is it with all these Kennys who just keep eating alien space food with no regard for their health and well-being? It's like the last movie, the kids were like drinking alien milk out of the walls or whatever the hell that was. I'm not joking when I say they're gonna eat these kids' brains. They straight up come like 1 inch away from Hannibal lecturing this kid's skull open with a bone saw. And again, this was a movie made for people who were at the age that shitting their pants on a playground is still a regular state of affairs. And here they are about to crack open a little kid's head like a coconut. Jesus! No wonder Dai went bankrupt. They had to pay for all the therapy bills this movie caused. After nearly an hour of this garbage, when your synapses are like on the verge of burning out from how painfully butthole this movie is, Gamera finally shows up on the planet. And you're just like, let's fucking go! And then he immediately is made into a beta by Girin, who just like starts cutting him open. And even though Girin is in no way holding Gamera down, he just takes it like a bitch in heat in a dog park. You have rockets for legs, bro. Just fly away, man. Instead, he falls into a tiny pond that like magically becomes as deep as the ocean, and then he passes out.
Hello, how are you? I am under the water. Please help me.
Well, at least we got 2 minutes of kaiju battle before we had to go back to the plot of the Kennys, and even they look bored as shit. But alas, the aliens try to flee. Girin cleaves their ship in half.
My legs!
Gamera gets smacked in the head by a rock, and then we are graced with quite literally one of the greatest moments ever witnessed. A scene so groundbreaking and world-changing, the film historians will write about it for years to come. And yeah, I am talking about how Gamera is dangling on strings while he slaps his balls on Kieran's back. This is art. Now, if you manage to make it this far into the movie, all that pain finally starts paying off. There are a lot of, insane moments in this last battle, from, Gamera doing gymnastics to him dancing. Yes, it's beyond stupid, but these are the reasons we even watch these Showa Gamera movies to begin with. Where else are you going to hear a kid scream this line?
Donna, Arian's weak point is the hole. Get that hole!
This is a dumb movie. A really dumb movie, but I won't deny that it's got at least plenty of ridiculous moments that are hard to forget once you see them, if for no other reason than your brain trying to comprehend this madness. But if you are going to watch this movie, just watch the Japanese version. Save yourself from the genuinely trash tier Titan dub. I mean, maybe the export dub's better, but I wasn't about to sit through this movie twice back to back to find out.
Can Gamera stop its relentless march? Gamera versus Monster X.
Gamera vs. Jiger, or Gamera vs. Monster X, as it was known as in North America when it aired on TV, is the 6th entry in the Showa series, and this shit just keeps getting weirder and weirder. The plot this time revolves around archaeologists finding a giant statue known as the Devil's Whistle, and removing it from its resting place for display at Expo 70. Gamera, knowing full well that this was a dumb as balls thing to do, shows up to try and stop them, but he fails, resulting in the appearance of one of the most unique monsters from the Showa series. But before we get into any of that, let's talk about just what the hell Expo 70 is. Y'all ready for a history lesson? Expo 70 was a World's Fair that was held in Osaka between March 15th and September 13th, 1970. A World's Fair is essentially a massive exhibition of technological achievements from the world's nations where they all gather to show off all the cool stuff they did. Expo 70, being the first one ever held in Japan, was a huge deal. Just some of the photos of this event alone just shows off its mind-blowing scale. And apparently in the 6 months this thing ran, it ended up seeing over 64 million visitors, which is just god damn, bro. That's a lot of people, man. Gamera vs. Jiger basically serves as an advertisement for the expo, having not only its story revolve around the event, but a massive chunk of the movie itself was even filmed in the expo grounds. It wasn't just Gamera either. Apparently the 7th episode of Kamen Rider was also filmed on the site as well. It was a big deal. Interesting side note, you know how kaiju fans have been clamoring for a Godzilla vs. Gamera for years? Well, it happened at Expo 70. Kind of. For 10 days, there was a Godzilla vs. Gamera stage show, officially backed by Toho and Dai, that featured Godzilla, Gamera, Gorosaurus, Manila, Space Gauss, and Jiger all on stage beating the shit out of each other. And Haruo Nakajima, Godzilla's original suit actor from the Showa-era movies, was actually the dude in the Godzilla suit. Unfortunately, the only way to see this show at all is some grainy photos and incredibly brief, crappy-looking 8mm clip of the event, which I find ironic, considering this was an expo about technological advancements, and no one thought to film the show. Anyway, back to the movie. Gamera's foe this time around is this lizard thing called Jiger that looks like it's going through an edgy phase and doesn't care what its parents thinks and wants to rebel. And its attacks are just as random and weird looking as its stupid face. Jiger apparently has telekinesis. They call it suction, but come on. Even Gamera's bro, what the fuck was that? It can shoot barbs out of its tusks, has a gross stinger on its tail that can impregnate you with parasites. I'm not joking. It has a head ray that's capable of wiping out entire city blocks in seconds, and it can fly. Because why not? Whatever higher power came up with this monstrosity was higher than when the platypus was created, because it's And because I know you guys are just itching to know, this movie is yet again a double whammy Kenny surprise. 2 annoying shits for the price of 1. Actually 3, because there's another annoying sister just like the last one. And once again, it's Japanese kid and white kid. Except the Japanese Kenny somehow looks 12, whilst simultaneously looking 34. I gotta be honest, of the Showa Gamera movies, I think this one might be one of the better ones. Not for story or anything. I mean, if you're going into a Showa Gamera movie looking for a hard-hitting plot, there's something wrong with you. But this one at least features a lot more actual kaiju battle in it, and there's some decent city destruction to boot, which is something that the previous movies always seem to lack. I don't want to see monsters fight in a field or on a mountain or some shit. Blow up cities. Come on. And the battles, they're hilariously entertaining. Tons of great moments. I especially love this little bit where Gamera is smashing Jiger's head into the floor and he just kind of looks mildly annoyed by it. Or the bit where Jiger's falling out of the sky and Gamera looks like he's about to like impale Jiger on a tower, but instead gets his dumbass seesawed into a bunch of buildings. I have no idea what his plan was there, but that's hilarious. During one of the battles, Gamera gets stuck with Jiger's stinger and ends up impregnated with a Jiger baby, leaving him petrified. But not until after we get a really weird scene where Gamera just kind of walks for an entire minute in one continuous shot, which might actually be one of the oldest examples of a long take that I think I've seen. And we know Gamera got jabbed with a parasite because there's this really disgusting scene that I'm not putting in here where they show an elephant's trunk get cut open as they pull out a bunch of like roundworms to explain what happened to Gamera, and it's fucking gross, and I have no idea why it's included in a movie directed at kids. First time I saw it, I thought it was real. It's not, but it still makes my balls itch, and I'd rather not look at it again. I think Gamera gets his ass kicked more in this movie than in any of the other ones. Dude gets impaled, impregnated. He's having a real bad day. So their master plan to save Gamera involves the two Kennys jumping in another submarine, just like Gamera vs. Virus, and pulling off Magic School Bus by literally going inside Gamera's body to get the disgusting little baby Jiger out of him. Why is it always the Kennys? There's like all these highly trained scientists and military dudes present during these scenes, and they always entrust the fate of the world in the hands of a bunch of little shits whose nuts probably haven't even dropped yet. It doesn't make any sense, man. So anyway, the baby Jiger has the added ability to bust sticky nut from its nose, so there's that. They kill it with radio signals or something, I don't know, it's dumb. Either way, Gamera wakes up again, and I love how Jiger sees him and just has this "oh fuck" look on his face. During this phase of the battle, Jiger uses his head beam thing on Gamera, who counters it by shoving whole ass telephone poles in his brain. It's ridiculous, stupid, and I love it. I don't really want to spoil the way Gamera beats Jiger if you haven't seen a movie from 50 years ago, because this is one of the more entertaining of the Showa movies, and one that I'd actually recommend watching if you're into this kind of thing. And you're probably into this kind of thing, otherwise you wouldn't be subscribed to the channel. Honestly, this would have been a higher note to end things on had this been the last of the Showa movies. I mean, I'm not saying it's great filmmaking or anything, but at least it's an enjoyable enough stupid movie. But sadly, we have two more, both of which are arguably some of the worst ones in the whole series, so good, we have that to look forward to.
It's a close encounter of dueling aliens. A war of the stars. It's Gamera versus Zigra. And it's a shoo-in for a sequel.
Dear God, now we're really digging into the bottom of the barrel. At this point in Gamera's career, you can practically taste Dai's desperation on the tip of your tongue. It's so palpable. 1971's Gamera vs. Zigra came out on the cusp of the death of the studio. Notable by the, I'm gonna try to say this in one go, Dainichi Ie logo at the beginning of the movie. I probably screwed that up. Which was Dai's last attempt at staying afloat. It didn't work. You know when the first sound you hear in a film is this? That it's about to be a hell of a fucking ride, boy. Man, they really leaned heavily on the kid-friendly tone in this one. So I'm gonna get this out of the way right now. I reviewed the dub of the movie. Why? Simply because it's the version of this stupid thing that I happen to have, and I refuse to double dip on this cinematic opus of excellence. And because I watched the dub for this, I had to experience what I truly believe to be the most fucking irritating kids in any of the Gamera movies. So you also have to. Sorry. And you know what's great? The dub couldn't even be dicked to say the character's Japanese name, so everyone got white names. And guess what they decided to name the main little kid?
Kenny, stop watching TV and brush your teeth.
Like, you can't make this shit up. So this time around, an alien ship that kind of looks like a spiky bottle cap arrives on Earth to take over. But their explanation for why they showed up doesn't make any sense to me, because she says this line:
"All you Earth creatures, you must surrender at once.
We on Zigra planet, we used to live in the sea. But your Earth science polluted the water, and we could no longer live there.
So we studied the other planets to find waters where we could survive. We even went as far as Remus Galaxy. Finally, one day, we found an ideal planet sufficient for all our needs. It is your Earth."
And motherfucker, we ain't even landed on Mars yet. How the hell did humanity manage to pollute water on some other hick-ass planet in the 70s, no less?
"I have obeyed your orders, Zigra. I have brought the Earth creatures to you."
Good work. I am pleased. Now awaken them.
Oh, and Zigra talks, which is just so bizarre. It's not often you get a kaiju that can talk to people. Can't say I love it, but I do dig Zigra's design. It's just like an armored goblin shark. It's honestly one of the coolest monsters in the Gamera movies. It's just a shame that it's wasted on one of the worst movies in the Gamera series. I legit can't imagine being a parent in the 70s and getting dragged by my kid to sit and watch this piece of shit in a theater. Couldn't be me. Man, I'd drop the kid off in a forest and let them get lost as punishment for subjecting me to this shit. The funny part is that they were so desperate for people to watch this and knew no one was gonna, that they billed it as a double feature with oh god, I gotta try to say this in one go. Suzuno, fucking Jesus. Bird with Birdman 3, whatever, dude. A movie that wasn't for kids, that was released in 1958. Yeah, they dropped Gamera vs. Zigra with a movie 10 years old. They were that desperate. There's a part where you can hear a newscaster talking about this.
Zigra has destroyed thousands of homes and killed many families.
And all I could think about was, why the hell isn't that stuff in the movie? Like, why am I being forced to watch this alien chick, who isn't actually an alien, spoilers, whatever, I don't care, chase like these little kids around like this is a fucking Scooby-Doo episode or something. It sucks, man. Turns out Zigra can mind control people. They cure her by talking into a radio. I just... And as if the movie itself wasn't dumb enough, the editing doesn't make any sense either. During a scene with Kenny brushing his teeth, they keep like splicing in these scenes of orcas at Japanese SeaWorld, and it's really jarring.
These SeaWorld whales were brought here all the way from Canada last year. The little one is Jumbo and he's 10 months old. The other one, Chippy, is a female. Hurry or you're going to be late for school again. Oh, look at you.
There's audio edits like this. And I can't be the only one who hears him saying this, right?
Look, it's heading right at us!
And the scenes with Gamera are like so few and far between that there's barely any time for anything memorable to even happen. There's like a scene where he picks up their boat to try to save them from Zigra, but when he lands, he comes down so hard that I imagine every person on that boat just had all their spines blow out their assholes at the same time. Like, could you imagine the force of that impact? When Zigra and Gamera finally do battle, most of it takes place underwater, and I don't know if it was just the shitty copy of the movie that I have or what, but trying to watch these scenes is like trying to look out a frosted glass window after someone brained you with a frying pan. I can't see a goddamn thing. There isn't even really any great moments in the fight, aside from like a moment where Gamera throws a rock at Zigra and then runs away like a kid trying to pick a fight with a dog. And probably the only part anyone even remembers is when Gamera plays his goddamn theme song on Zigra's back like a xylophone. God damn it, man, this sucks. And like, I really gotta reiterate on just how fucking annoying these kids are. Some scientists or whatever go down in a submarine, you know, life or death situation, and Kenny is just like...
Kenny!
I don't know why, this made me viscerally angry. So you can imagine my excitement when this happens.
Did they die of suffocation? They're dead, but not by suffocation.
Of course, they didn't actually die, but if they just cut to credits right there after he said it, I would have given the shit an Oscar. And why the fuck does Gamera's head look like foreskin? I'm done. This movie sucks. None of the Showa Gamera films are modern art, but goddamn man, this one is a special level of ass. It's somehow stupider and more dull than any of the other ones, and the fact that this was their Hail Mary attempt at keeping the studio afloat is just depressing. At least the other ones have memorable moments. This one just really sucks. Who knows, you know, maybe the Japanese cut's better. But in order to find that out, I'd have to sit through this a second time, and to be honest, I'd rather have sex with a cheese grater.
Packed with stunning effects, Super Monster, the most riveting film in the history of motion pictures. Who will win, Gamera or the enemies of the Earth?
We now come to the metaphorical fart of a finale that brought in the end of the Showa era of Gamera films. Made purely out of desperation, Gamera Super Monster exists quite literally only as a cash grab and nothing more. Nearly a decade after Gamera vs. Zigra was released, Dai, now known as New Dai, needed a Hail Mary attempt to try to save the production company from crashing and burning. Their answer? stitched together the good parts from all the previous Gamera movies into a shitty Gamera movie, with the exception to the original movie, because of course slipping black and white footage into a color movie in 1980, that was just crossing a line that I guess they didn't want to. It even opens up with a shot of a white ship that looks lawsuit-worthy close to a Star Destroyer from Star Wars. Hell, it even has the same opening shot. This ship was also featured heavily on the movie's poster, so it's pretty clear it was an obvious attempt at trying to lure stupid little kids into the seats, thinking that they were going to get the Gamera equivalent to Star Wars. But what they ended up with was the same deal as like a sumo wrestler shoving your nose in between his cheeks and just like letting one go. Essentially, what this entire movie is a best of compilation held together by a plot so cheesy and lame that it even makes the shittiest episodes of Power Rangers look like modern art in comparison. There's these like space women who transform into heroes using the power of aerobic tai chi or some shit. That they can teleport using the power of synthwave keyboards. It's dumb. It's dumb, man. It's even dumb by Gamera standards, and that's really saying something. And then meanwhile, there's like this other evil chick who works for the Star Destroyer looking thing who keeps trying to catch this movie's Kenny, because to be honest, I don't even know why. My brain went on autopilot about 5 minutes in, and I basically just kind of looked like Patrick when he had that nail stuck in his head. Like, my brain was just off. And because I love torturing myself, I watched the movie's English dub. Because just like I said in the Zegro review, I only have the dubbed version, and double-dipping Gamera Super Monster sounds less appealing than smashing my balls in my laptop for 5 minutes. So I'm just not doing it. The best part, though, is that even though the movie's dubbed, they didn't bother to dub over the kids singing, so that's still in Japanese.
I wish you'd spend more time with your studies and not singing songs.
I'm singing for my friend the turtle.
The dubbed voice probably sucked so bad at it that they were like, God damn, we'll just leave it, man. Kids are too stupid to notice anyway, right? And apparently the albino Star Destroyer has the ability to like shoot a beam so precise down to Earth that it can hit a single car, but only if the space women are in hero form, otherwise it loses track of them. But if the aliens didn't give a shit about Earth anyway, why didn't they just carpet bomb the area where they just shot at, knowing full well that the hero chicks are right there anyway? Am I overthinking this dumb shit? Yeah, probably, but it made me mad. Considering this movie's completely unapologetic overuse of stock footage, I find it ironic that one of its only original shots of Gamera is actually one of the best shots in the entire Showa franchise. This is a legit good shot. Why was it only made for the shittiest of the movies? At least I think it's an original shot. Man, I don't know. All these Gamera movies just kind of blend together in my head. Maybe it's not an original shot. Either way, it's a good one. And if taking footage from all the older movies wasn't already bad enough, there are two sequences where they stitch together live-action shots of Gamera and throw them into scenes ripped right out of Space Battleship Yamato and Galaxy Express 999. Why not, right? Kids love Gamera, kids love anime. Let's crossbreed them into this jarring monstrosity. The way it's shot doesn't even blend well. It just looks like Gamera's watching this shit on TV. Oh, would you look at that. Gamera and Godzilla are in the same universe. Confirmed, people. It's confirmed. The even more fucked up part about this movie is that they end up killing Gamera at the end of it. As if this worthless waste of celluloid was supposed to be the big send-off to this iconic monster. It's not even a whimper. It's not even like a fart. It's like a tiny grunt you'd make after someone kicked for your nuts but just kinda nicked them. You guys know the feeling. And I can't be the only one who thought of this, right?
You are who you choose to be.
Holy hell, this movie is like the absolute definition of stepping in dog crap. Aside from one single fight scene near the end that's mildly entertaining at best, but kind of looks like it was shot on like a V Cinema camera. You know V Cinema is like that, the Japanese equivalent to like low budget. This entire movie kind of looks like it was shot like that. This movie just didn't need to exist. It's so pointless that I often see people ignore it entirely and claim that Zegro was the end of the Showa series. Thank God we got the 90s revival, because you just know in some alternate timeline, Super Monster was the final entry, and that is truly the darkest timeline. I think the best part about this entire movie is that it made this review really easy because I could skip through about 70% of the movie because I'd already seen it.
それは
空飛ぶ巨大なカメ。ガメラ大怪獣空中決戦。伝説の大怪獣上陸迫る。
The final Showa Gamera film ended with a whimper. Not even a whimper, more like a silent fart. I mean, when your final entry is nothing more than a glorified best-of compilation, it's safe to say your franchise is pretty much dead. But in 1995, the same year Godzilla's Heisei series was coming to an end, the flying rocket turtle got his well-deserved comeback to the big screen, and damn was it ever a good one. Gamera, Guardian of the Universe, is the first of what is known as the Gamera trilogy, and pits Gamera against probably his most well-known foe at the time, Gauss. But really, when you look back at Gamera's laundry list of enemies, you have some pretty dumb shit to pick from. So, I mean, you got Virus, the stupid squid, Baragon that shoots rainbows out of his back, and a walking shark, so it makes sense that the foe they would bring back is the most plausible of the bunch. But this time around, there's more than one Gauss, and apparently these things were created by the people of Atlantis. Yeah, I'm not kidding. Pretty much as a perfect weapon. But they started fucking like rabbits, pumping babies out left, right, and center, so the people of Atlantis, and again, I'm not kidding, created Gamera as a defense measure whose sole purpose was to hunt and destroy the Gauss. Yeah, that's the plot. That's the origin of Gamera. Well, 3 surviving Gauss birds have made their way to modern-day Japan and are starting to eat people.
That is one big pile of shit.
So the government, in a move that actually kind of shocks me, decide the birds need to be captured and protected, so they lure them into a baseball stadium. I'm not gonna lie, the Gauss in this form look pretty stupid. They have really dumb looking eyes and their heads are all jerky, it's just goofy looking. But, lo and behold, the Guardian himself arrives to finish them off. Gamera looks awesome. It's a huge improvement over how he looked in the olden days, but he's not that intimidating in this. I mean, he still has the big teddy-looking eyes and stuff, kind of like a massively oversized Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle costume from the first movie. It's clear they were still trying to make him look lovable to please the kid and probably female audience. Thankfully, though, they have no problem showing him lay waste to the city. Gamera has one thing on his mind, kill the Gauss, and he doesn't give a shit what gets in his way. I love when he meets up with the first Gauss and he just smacks that bitch like he's nothing. Well, one of the Gauss survives the attack and grows over time, eventually becoming a lot cooler looking with glowing red eyes and actually matches Gamera in size, looking more like he did in the original movie from the 60s. All the fight scenes between Gamera and Gauss are a blast, and thankfully they aren't rare. In a lot of kaiju movies, for some reason they always make us sit through like an hour and 20 minutes of boring ass talking just to get to a 10-minute fight scene. There's still those talking scenes, I mean, it wouldn't be a kaiju movie without them, but in this, the monsters meet up quite a few times. As usual, all the practical effects are top-notch, but for some reason in the final battle, they decide to throw in these really shitty-looking CGI shots of Gamera and Gauss flying around. But it's kept to a minimum, thank God. It's really entertaining stuff. There's even a scene where the monsters take the fight into space. I guess that's where the Guardian of the Universe title comes from, because it doesn't make sense otherwise. I mean, he never leaves Japan. You gotta love how the Gauss are the ones eating people, but the army decides to shoot at Gamera instead for some reason. If I was Gamera, I'd just say, fuck you guys, handle this yourself, and then I'd just go back to being a sleeping almond in the ocean. There's also a chick who shares some sort of telekinetic connection with Gamera through this jewel that looks like a comma. This setup actually plays a major role in Gamera 3, which I really like. Anyway, because of this link, every time Gamera is injured, she can feel it. Except for when Gamera falls into a giant gasoline plant and gets blown the fuck up. For some reason, I don't know why, she just didn't feel that. That's a little weird. The Gamera trilogy are some of the best kaiju movies ever made, and Guardian of the Universe was a major step in the right direction. It did away with Gamera's kid-friendly image he ended up adopting in the Showa movies and turned him into a legitimate monster again, not some gymnastics toddler babysitter bitch. And the movies only got better after this. So, should you watch Gamera Guardian of the Universe? Yes. Should you watch the entire Gamera trilogy? Yes. Gamera 2, Attack of Legion, or Attack of the Legion, or Advent of Legion, or Assault of Legion is the second entry in the Gamera trilogy and pits our favorite flying rocket turtle against a massive insect alien dubbed, well, Legion. Yeah, since this movie goes by like 1,000 different titles, I'm just gonna go by what the North American Blu-ray says, which is Attack of the Legion. So this time around, a meteor shower streaks across the skies of Japan, bringing with it a huge swarm of butt-ugly, one-eyed, crab-looking alien things that have a thing for eating glass. Soon after, the bugs create a giant flower that is, I guess, supposed to terraform the Earth with super concentrated oxygen. As to be expected, Gamera returns to destroy the flower and very quickly gets his ass kicked by the swarm. It's actually kinda lame. I mean, toughen the fuck up, dude. Turns out that the Legion swarm aren't alone. There's actually a Queen Legion who's the same size as Gamera, because if Gamera faced off against a bug smaller than a person, it'd be pretty boring. And even in this form, she continues to smack Gamera around. Oh, he's a squirter! Gauss was a little bitch compared to this thing. I love the Queen's design. She's just awesome to look at, both from a visual standpoint and as a special effects marvel. I mean, look at how many moving parts this thing has. Could you imagine how difficult it must have been to operate that suit? Because yes, it is a guy in a suit. As a matter of fact, Legion is portrayed by Mizuho Yoshida, who would later be the man in the Godzilla suit in Giant Monsters All Out Attack. She kinda reminds me of a cross between Knifehead from Pacific Rim and a goblin shark. It's just really cool. She even comes equipped with an electroshocker blast that she shoots out of her face. Gamera doesn't look a whole lot different from how he looked in the last movie. I mean, there are some small changes like these arm fin blade things, but the changes are incredibly subtle. He does look less lovable, which is a good thing though. I want him to look badass, not cuddly. When Gamera and Legion face off with each other, it's as entertaining as you'd expect it was going to be. One of my favorite scenes is when Gamera comes in for a quick crash landing at Mach speed and starts skidding across the city, literally firing strafing rounds at Legion's face while he's doing it. That shit is awesome. Unfortunately, unlike the previous movie, there is more characters talking in this one than there is actual monster battles, and sadly, the characters in this one just aren't interesting enough, so it feels really, really slow. And for some reason, there's no music during the final battle at all, which is just kind of weird. One thing I really like, and it's probably a strange thing to point out, but whatever, is that this movie takes place during the winter. I don't think I've ever seen any giant monster movies that take place during winter. Mind you, they go back to Tokyo and ignore that shit pretty quickly, but I don't know, I like the atmosphere that Japanese winters give off. So, Gamera 2 is a massively entertaining movie if you can make it past the doll parts. It's not as exciting as the previous movie, but it still holds its own, and it's definitely worth checking out for any kaiju nut. All the special effects are awesome, it keeps the CGI down to a bare minimum, and it's a nice segue into what I consider to be the best of the Gamera films, Gamera 3. Gamera 3, Revenge of Iris. Oh fuck yeah, I've been waiting to get to talk about this one. During the battle between Gamera and Gauss 4 years prior, a young girl named Ayane witnessed her family, hell even her cat, get killed in the attack when the two monsters destroyed her apartment building. Now she's bullied, treated like shit in general, and she views Gamera as a literal nightmarish demon and holds him directly responsible for her family's death and wants nothing more than for revenge on Gamera. One day, she stumbles upon an egg in an old cave, and from that egg comes out a baby parasite thing named Iris that looks honest to God like a Pokemon. It's adorable, but stabs people and sucks out their life force with pointy tentacles, making them look like the dead bodies from The Ring, so not so adorable. There are a few theories in the movie as to what Iris actually is, but they never really confirm any of them. The DNA they gather from the Iris egg matches the DNA from the Gauss, so it's clearly related to them. Is Iris supposed to be an ancient version of the Gauss, or perhaps it's the ultimate evolution of them? Another theory is that Iris was created by the same Atlanteans that created Gamera as a failsafe to kill Gamera in case they lost control of him. I don't know, but I love the mystery behind this thing. Meanwhile, over in Shibuya, a surviving group of Gauss are in the midst of an aerial battle with you-know-who, and let me just say, this is how you fucking introduce your hero monster. Fuck yeah, dude, that's awesome! Gamera is back, and this time he actually looks menacing and monstrous, especially with that spike mohawk thing he has going down his head. Totally badass. Seriously, this is how I wanted Gamera to look from the beginning of the trilogy. No more cuddle shit. Now he's a legitimate warrior. And this time, we get to see just what happens when people get between a creature whose whole purpose is to kill another creature. Gamera completely destroys Shibuya, killing tons of people in the process. And Iris looks absolutely amazing when he grows to full size. It's no exaggeration when I say he's probably one of my favorite monster designs ever. I don't think it's ever been confirmed, but I can't imagine that anime wasn't a major influence in his design. I mean, when you see him soaring through the skies, silhouetting the moon, he looks like he could easily pass as an angel from Evangelion or something. And the effects in this movie, holy sweet flying shit, are they ever good. Groundbreaking, in fact. Every practical shot of Gamera and Iris is set up to look visually gorgeous. Even the CGI, which is used a lot more in this than it ever was in any of the older Gamera movies, looks pretty damn good for 1999, let alone Japanese CGI in 1999. Hell, even many of the Godzilla movies that came out in the 2000s, years after this movie came out, didn't even look this good, and that's coming from someone who clearly loves Godzilla. I think this is mainly due to the director making the wise decision to have all the visual heavy scenes take place during dimly lit night sequences. You want to know the ultimate way to tell this was a 90s movie? Fucking Sega Dreamcast product placement. That's awesome. There are just way too many scenes in Gamera 3 that stick out in my mind as great, but one of my favorites has always been when Gamera and Iris take their battle to the air. God, that shit gets me rock hard! I could gush about Gamera 3 for hours, but I think I've said enough. It's easily the best Gamera movie ever made, without a shadow of a doubt, but I wouldn't say it's a stretch at all to consider it one of the greatest kaiju movies of all time as well. You've got a much darker tone than any Gamera movie before it, phenomenal special effects that still hold up today, an interesting story and characters for once, and a great musical score which just amplifies all the already cool shit. If I had to say anything bad about this movie at all, it's that it ends on a bullshit cliffhanger, which always pissed me off. You fuckers knew this was the end of the trilogy, why would you do that to us? Especially since Gamera the Brave, which came out after this, has nothing at all to do with this trilogy at all. One can dream. If Godzilla can make a comeback, why the hell can't Gamera, right?
Gamera. でも今はまだ8センチ。小さき勇者たち、ガメラ。
So, how do you top the 90s Gamera trilogy, especially Gamera 3, which is one of the greatest monster movies ever made? Well, spoiler alert, you don't. You don't even come close. So, after Gamera 3 ended on a cliffhanger, I was beyond excited that a new Gamera movie called Gamera the Brave was on its way. Hell yeah, let's pick up where we left things off. Yeah, the entire dark tone that was slowly built up throughout the trilogy is completely gone here. Instead, Gamera the Brave harkens back to the early Gamera movies from the 60s and 70s that were more family and kid-focused. Which really sucks, because the opening sequence showing Gamera in the past battling some Gauss had me hopeful, even though Gamera looks fucked. Well, in this opening scene, Gamera literally blows himself up to kill the Gauss. That's right, Gamera is dead already. In 2006, a kid named Toru, who seems to like it when his friends try to strip him of his clothes, don't know what the fuck is up with that, stumbles upon an egg atop a red stone in the same area where Gamera died 20 years prior. The egg hatches into a turtle, and yes, this is now Gamera. Now, rather than monster action, dark drama, and chaos, we get what basically amounts to E.T., but with a turtle. Literally, Toru names Gamera Toto and keeps him as a pet, and as time goes on, Toto starts to grow and fly. Well, not really fly, he just kind of floats around. From here, all kinds of wacky hijinks occur, exactly what you'd expect from a movie like this. Nice little Giron reference there. Now you may be asking, does Gamera fight anything? After the incredible kaiju designs of Legion and the even better Iris, they can only go up, right? This is Zetus, a giant dog dinosaur with a rapey tentacle tongue. Yeah, he's nothing special, sort of reminds me of something you'd see in an episode of Ultraman, but he actually does eat people, so that's kinda cool, I guess. When Gamera turns full size, he just looks dumb. If you watched my reviews of the trilogy, you would have heard me say repeatedly that I hated when they tried to make him look cute and cuddly, so exactly what they did to him in this movie. And you know Gamera's signature roar? He doesn't do it in this movie once. I'm not joking. Not one single fucking time. Are you kidding me? That'd be like if Godzilla didn't roar. It's signature. You can't replace an iconic roar with this stock shit. It sounds like the shark from Jaws the Revenge. What were they thinking? Nothing about the fight scene sticks out, really. Aside from a pretty funny scene where Zetus somersaults Gamera into the top of a skyscraper, the rest is all just typical kaiju stuff. It's entertaining enough, but it just feels lacking, and I hate to keep comparing this to the third movie again, but that one just set such a high standard that this one needed to top, and it just didn't at all. It's a totally passable, entertaining for the most part monster movie, but that's about it. It's not special or groundbreaking or very memorable in any way. It just kind of exists. And Gamera deserves a true sequel, one that puts him back on the map with Godzilla, not one that makes me feel like I'm watching E.T.
I like turtles.